I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We are AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Steins Gate 0, Season 1, Episode 17. Last episode was a big one. Pretty massive talk with Maho about what choice do we really have, you know, and why we should continue fighting against a god. And we also had a pretty heartbreaking scene with Mayuri at the end of last episode. I think that a lot of communicating happened, and I think Ocarine might be pretty aware that just because he did something to save Mayuri, I don't know if it bred the outcome that he thought it would have. She's still hurting because Ocarine is. What's next? I don't know. I want it to be like, okay, Ocarine's back, right? Okabe's back, and we're all on the same page together. But because of the nature of Steins Gate 0 and what we've seen of him so far, I don't know. Could be a tall ask.
What it'll take. I mean, last episode we were saying things like, is anything going to force his hand?
Yeah.
What is going to be the catalyst to get him to do this? We get, last episode we were hearing about, you know, Suzuha in terms of what's left on the time machine. We're counting down to the day that Kurisu was killed, the anniversary of it.
I hope it's happy.
The next episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happiness. Let's go. You ready? Sweet.
There's something taped there.
Underneath. You think it's a phone? Ah.
Made up your mind. That would be a problem. Especially with Kaguri.
I saw the white and thought it was a lab coat. God.
Interesting to have this happen when we know Kaguri's around.
This is gonna get interesting.
Having Mayuri more involved.
Yeah.
Suzuha loving this time and loving being here with her parents and having that quality time. Kaguri hating that.
You know how, never mind. I was gonna suggest something about remembering different time, world lines, but has nothing to do with the future. It's variance.
I think it's a different version of her that slapped. I love that
Or
theory.
telling her old version that she needs to say something, you know? I'm a scientist. That's reason enough. Great shot. No! Steins Gate!
Want to believe. We even saw Ferris in front of the TV.
Wow.
The feelings they tried to hide, the things they never achieved.
The fear of suddenly losing those who should exist. Ugh.
お待たせ。ずいぶんかかったね。どこまで行ってってね、ザギンまで。誰かの誕生日？選別だお。あの大好きなショートケーキだお。2つくらい楽勝。大好きとか言わないで。
Farewell to Suzuha.
まさか。
You don't think Mayori's gonna go today, do you?
クリスが死んだ去年の7月28日だけの燃料はないんでしょ？賞賛はあるの？わからない。マシンも用意したかったんだ。何度でもやり直せるように。ここに戻るってこと？そうなったらどうなるの？さあ。
How would Kaguri feel if Mary got in the time machine?
Straightened out. She's going right now? It's so weird to see Mary this involved, you know?
I'm not stopping her. Why did you?
どうしてマイリがそんな話しろうとするんだ。言っただろう。マイリは何も知らなくていい。この時間が。
この1年さ、考えていたんだよね。なんで25年後の僕はこの時代に鈴葉を送り出したんだろうって。見せたかったんじゃないかな。この
Wanted
世
her
界
to see it.
もう覚悟を決めたわけ。鈴葉と同じように使命を果たそうって、できることをやろうって。
Do the things only I can do. Feeding that to
僕は
Mary.
25年後に人類初のタイムマシン。マユシーはどうすればいいのかな。何かしたいけど何も。私はオカリンを立ち直らせたじゃん。それで十分じゃね。私の彦星様が復活していては変わっていたかもしれない。
And she knows what she wanted in the future, and now she can go do that.
の彦星様はその時からずっと一人だけ。だからこの1年ずっと何かが欠けていたってほしいのに、ずっと変わらずにいてほしい。泣きたいくらい求めてる。たいくらい望んでる。私オカリンのことが好き。クリスさんと同じくらい。違う。クリスさんに負けないくらいずっと好き。だけどおい、今日はもっと大好きなの。私が消えそうになってた時にずっといろって言ってくれた。おい、今日まに会いたいよ。そうだ、高笑いが聞きたいよ。ありなれないって分かってても私にとっての彦星様太郎以外にはいないもん。だったらさ、迷うことないんじゃね。タル君
So resolute. So the resolve.
は今日だけ人質。
Stop being a hostage. He's not gonna make it in time. That shot we see in the intro
All
of the
the
time machine
carriers
moving.
are out.
It's gonna be right when he fucking arrives. He's gonna be like, why didn't you stop her?
誰？マイリはどこだ？どうなってる？
調べてるんだけど、なんか秋葉原一帯にまだ復旧してないっぽい。
Are we
ネ
stalling?
ットは使えるんだよな。
No, that's the
Yeah,
truth.
yeah.
The phone will call him
情
out.
報統制されているのか、アットチャンネルに繋いだんだけど、お買い手が
Got
クラッキング
hacked.
されていて。
この書き込みはこれから我ら双子は敵に遠ざけられそうだ。
Number 2. These are all Karisu's handle from Steins Gate.
だから時を司る秘密も
What the fuck?
True Amadeus.
最後に最も尊敬する凡庸なる人々の代表だと考えていた。私にとっての目標であり、あなたこそがアマデウスその人だ。
You are
これってどういう書き込んだのはアマデウスのクリスだ。マジ？アマデウスにアクセスはできるか？
ええ。こと。
なんだ？
データそのものが全てなくなっている。
言ってた通りだ。
じゃあ秘密もそのありかもっていうのは。
まさかクリスの記憶が。
アマデウスの記憶の真相領域のプロテクトが破られるわけだ。
これってまさかタイムマシンの存在が誰かに。そんな。トル。オカリン。
Do you think through Kaguri?
マユリとスザーが。マユシはそれを追って。マユリダメなのか。タイムマシンがある限り。
働いてもらうよ C203。すずさん、止めても無駄だよ。
She's not here to stop you.
違う、連れてって。去年の8月21日へ。あの時の直後に行きたいの。なきゃ意味がないの。確信があって言ってる。戻ってこれないんだよ。お星様をなかったことにしたくないから。後悔をなかったことにしたくないから。わかった。
This is so crazy.
マユリー、ここに行くつもりだ。何をするつもりだ。この結末を受け入れようとしたのに。
We're gonna make him record that
どうして
video.
こうなるんだ。
She's gonna get in.
それ以上近づいたら撃つよ。
何もしなくていい。何かしたらダメなんだ。したことが無駄になる。クリスの死が無駄になってしまう。そんなの俺は。
大丈夫。かすめただけ。
俺は
おかわり。
俺は。
それでもなかったことにしたらダメなんだよ。星は世界から消えちゃうわけじゃないもん。向こうで変わらず輝き続けている。空を覆っている雨雲を取り払ってくる。待ってて。
マユリマユリ。
だね。血はもう止まっているから心配しないで。
何をするつもりだ。
何度も言ったよ。好きな全ての人のために未来を変える。思うことはあるけど、さよなら。父さんから2025年 D メール。
スズハ、父さんだよ。
What?
こちらは2025年だ。届いたということは、君とマユシはハンズゲートへの道をまた一つ見つけたということだ。によって世界線はまた少し変動したんだ。君が出発した世界線とは違う別の世界の橋田至るということ。それでも娘ラブであることに変わりはないがね。つうことでこのムービーメールの本題、アークライトの詳細を伝える。
Operation Arclight.
Arclight.
マユ姉さん。
銃を置いてそのまま地面に伏せろ。
喋らないで。大声出すとこいつらは本気。これでも一応女なんだ。
目標2と3を確保。目標1確保。生体認証か。立て。
わかった。
下手な真似をしたらすぐに撃つ。
わかってる。
Is that a knife?
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! Do you think she's just gonna throw Mayuri in there? Or just go herself?
Nairi definitely gets in it.
Jesus Christ, Suzuha.
We know her aim was good from that Okabe scene. No? Sniper? No.
マユ姉さん。
Fucking Kaguri. Kaguri killed Mayuri. Okay, that was Steins Gate Zero, Season 1, Episode 17. That went in a couple directions I did not see coming.
As Daru said, a couple things you did, a couple choices you made have changed things. And I'm like, yeah, definitely.
So,
but I don't know anything, ever.
Okay, so,
Okay,
Suzuha
unlock it for me.
Suzuha receives a D-mail from 2025 from Daru on
That's
a
her
separate
dad.
world line.
He
Correct?
says it's a different world line than the father that she had last spoke to.
Because she and Mayuri have unlocked a different path to Steins Gate, correct? Is the world line we are currently on now the same one that Daru sends the D-mail back to this Suzuha?
Has to be. That's the only reason we're getting it.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So that Daru is aware that Suzuha was about to get, like, ambushed.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm. That, and I feel like it has to be the same line that Okabe would record the video message in. Because we're getting a video message in that style, in that same way that we get from Okabe and Steins Gate, I feel like this has to be that same world line. And when we were talking last episode, like, are we going to be forcing his hand?
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about last episode, like, what if Mayuri, like, what if someone actually dies in this world line, whether on accident or because of fate?
Yeah.
And will he change his mind then? Especially Mayuri. But I thought maybe she'd be forcing his hand, which she kind of was by making her own choice here, like, and wanting to learn about it, even though he tried to talk to her to not be doing that, talk against that. And now if she dies here, then he's literally lost both of the things that he was fighting internally between saving. And he is assured that one of them was safe in his mind in this world line, and now that person is dead. So that is a reason for him to want to reach Steins Gate.
But I feel like in order to get there, there needs to be more time spent with the Daru message and Suzuha and the reveal of this helmet. You know, like, before we get an Okabe who's gonna put a jacket on and figure out that there's another way to do it and give Steins Gate Okabe a message, I think more time has to progress. It's not just gonna be like, oh, Mayuri's dead, gonna go record a video for a future past self, you know?
Are you sure about that? Because we're in this really tense situation. It's not like Kaguri is going to let Okabe go. It's not like Kaguri and the rest of them, they know about Daru now. They know about Mahu now. They're going to be looking for Okabe. They're probably still going to capture Suzuha here, especially now with the distraction of Mayuri's death. Like, we might have recorded that video in an intense time crunch.
We might have recorded that video 20 years from now.
Possibly.
You know what I mean, though?
Yeah,
like,
but right now we're in an intense time crunch.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna be, like, back in Steins Gate when Moeka came inside and they all got taken.
God, I wish
captured.
I had my Steins Gate notebook so I could see what the date was that we received the D-mail from. Because a year into the future doesn't feel like it's enough time. But it could be. Like, that message that we just got from Daru from 2025, right? Like, that's years ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it would come from a place of, like, clarity as this message did from Daru. Like, so do you think that it's Kaguri under the mask? Like, that's what everything's telling me, but the fact that we didn't get her to take the mask off is like, ah!
Well, we had to be led to believe that Kaguri wasn't the only one to be dressed like that. We've
Mhm.
already been given that idea in this Steins Gate Zero, especially upon her arriving and fighting Suzuha. We've already been like, wait, but the one that attacked you in the alley wasn't Kaguri.
Yeah.
So it could totally not be Kaguri. It could be, as we like to say, Reyes, Professor Reyes. I like to think that could also be her. And it could be possible that the killing of Mayuri here is something that will set Kaguri off in wanting to maybe join forces with Suzuha again, like bring them back together.
Yeah.
In terms of like fighting together.
It's interesting, like, as we're getting closer and closer and closer and closer to what we think might happen, it's like, what does the end of Steins Gate Zero actually look like as a series? Like,
yeah, no, that's a great, like, how are they going to bookend this series, like, as a standalone work? What is the ending for
exactly?
Steins Gate Zero?
Because,
that's a great
like,
question.
to get an Okabe that, like, if the last scene of this entire series was Okabe right now or Okabe in 2025 being like, okay, I'm gonna record this message to send to the past self.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's great and all, that completes it all, but then the ending sequence of this show would be him turning the camera off or sending the D-mail, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, or are we supposed to end at a place that then we could assume years from then he would get to that decision, or, you know?
But at the moment, I can't even imagine that he wouldn't be captured right now and kept in some facility and never allowed back in the lab ever again.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like he has to immediately go do this if it's gonna be done, because I can't imagine how he'd ever be released from the holds of whoever has captured him here. And that Maho and Daru are probably not safe either.
Yeah.
I know that he's not he's not on the roof and he is in a place where he can run. He could have an advantage, a head start on them, especially if Suzuha holds them off more. And he could have enough time. Because I honestly can't think how you would change anything if everyone gets captured here.
Yeah.
Because he had, from Steins Gate, he always, as everything was about to go bad, he would send a text message or something, you know? He would go back, reading Steiner over and over and over again to save Mayuri. Forces are closing in. He knows people are bursting through the door right now. Put it on, you know?
Yeah.
And we need to have something like that happen, at least in my opinion, in terms of trying to understand, you know, all the time travel and everything Steins Gate has to offer.
Yeah, I feel like there needs to be somehow a different iteration of the time machine. I could be wrong, but I feel like in my memory of Steins Gate, I wish, I want to go back and look to be sure, but I can't tell if that's a bad idea or not, and I know it would take me a minute to find it, but I'm pretty certain that the meaning of the time machine and its name, like the C was Christina, and it was 204, but here we hear that it's C203, and I get that that part of the name was meaningless, the number part of the name, but it being different in my memory, I wonder if it actually was different, because that could give us a hint if that is the truth, because then there would need to be a different iteration of the time machine made.
That's always possible to think, like, in different lines. In a line where Kurisu existed, Daru would probably be much quicker at, you know, the invention of the time machine could be much quicker.
Yeah.
There could be less attempts at it, less iterations.
Well,
we could be on an earlier iteration.
No. Like, what I was suggesting with that is that if this time machine gets taken and, like, locked up in a building somewhere, and we need to make another time machine where two time machines exist in this world,
and we do. How'd we start this episode off? With Daru trying to cheat and figuring out how to make the time machine because he knows he has to make one day.
So if instead of C203, it would then have a meaning.
It would have to be C204.
Yeah. Like that. So that was my way of thinking that. But again, like I'm like left like scratching my head at I feel like since the 2025 Daru sent a message, it's going to be an Ocarina in the future too.
But yeah, so the only question mark I have is how do we get away from these forces? They know where the lab is located. It's not like they're going to leave us alone.
Suzaha's a badass. I don't know.
Is she just going to be defending the lab for the next, with Mr. Braun for
Somebody
the next...
could use the phone microwave. Go back.
Change the one thing.
Yeah.
Because as Daru said in the year 2025, like, you and Mayuri made a few choices that changed this world line. Maybe they send a D-mail back that undoes one of those choices. Because what we see is that Amadeus, the deep memory data, has been delved into. We need to do something that either protects us from the access there. I don't know. Yeah.
The idea of discovering another path to Steins Gate, you may not realize it, but the two of your choices altered the world slightly. I want to see where, like, the dialogue cuts off. In other words, I'm not from the world line you left from, but a Hashida Itaru from another world, yeah. However, my love for my daughter will ever be the same. Amazing. Moving on to the point of this video mail. Now for the details of Operation Arclight, which is a different operation name, obviously, than the one that we get at the end of Steins Gate. But, like, that's the, like, I don't know. I'm not sure where we go from here. I feel like I have no evidence to...
Everything will make sense to me once it happens, and that is what Steins Gate does, is that everything will make sense to me once it is already shown to me.
Throw all that out the window. We've talked about that enough. I want to just give appreciation to the actual episode itself. Wow, it was wild seeing Mayuri in the position that she was in. It was a little bit like, holy shit. Like I'm so happy I'm seeing the side of her at the moment. I'm not going to be your hostage for a day. Mm-hmm. It felt like I was living in like a fanfic for a second of this world line that I never thought I'd see. And it's
so devastating to have her have such a resolve to be willing to sacrifice the current her's life in order to go and get back the Okabe, the Kiyoma that she loves. And to that, then she gets shot as she's gotten to this place of saying, defiantly looking at the camera, quote unquote, and will stop being a hostage. And then she dies right after she's gotten herself to this point. I'm like, this is devastating. I wanted to see her get in that fucking time machine, go back, switch out with the past self, and slap him, you know? Like,
there's no way they'd switch out with the past self, because it's like...
lock her in a closet.
But no, you couldn't do that. I think that Ocarina has been around Mayuri long enough to, like, notice the visual difference of a Mayuri back then and now.
Okay.
And I think that we would have noticed that in watching Steins Gate episode 23. We would have noticed that difference.
Yeah,
however, it could be going back before that interaction happens, being like, yo, if Okabe if our Kiyoma tries to give up, remind him not to, kind of type beat. But again, I don't know if I'd feel, I don't like that either in one of my, you know.
Does she slap him after hearing the video recording of himself from the future?
No, that's what causes the video recording of himself. That's one of the instances that does.
Okay.
Like, that was the defining moment that led to that other path to reach Steins Gate.
That's a choice that she makes, that it can reach Steins Gate.
Yeah. That slap. Sometimes you need that slap, man. Or that punch.
I know this, like, wasn't the most important part of the episode, but I wrote it down because I liked it. Mayuri, when she was asking about Kurisu and the choice of Kurisu to save her, that conversation with Maho and Suzuha, I wrote it down quickly because I liked this conversation. I don't know if sacrifice is the right word, is what Suzuha says back. And it's an interesting, like, kind of, you know, semantics on the word. Like, well, yeah, like, yes, the choice she made was her life was sacrificed, and then your life continues. But it's more so than that. It's like that word choice. I like that it's like there's a conversation there that word choice works, but
Yeah.
it's maybe not the best word to actually have and hold the feelings and what went into the decision.
Yeah.
It was like an unnecessary, because it's there. It's like we're just having a conversation. Two characters are like, "Oh, this word," and it's like, "Man, no, not really that word." But still, like, that's unnecessary. But as a viewer who likes dialogue and likes word choice, I'm like, "Oh, I like that we're kind of saying something loaded by being like, that's not necessarily the right word I would use, but like." The idea is similar. I see how you got there.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of stuff involved. And as a viewer, I know there's a lot of stuff involved.
I can't believe Mayuri was like, I know that Kurisu must have loved Okabe, but I'm like doubling down. Like, I'm sure that I love him more, but more than him, I love Kiyoma. I was like, holy shit. Like, oh my god. If I miss Kurisu so much, but this is like a side of like Mayuri I never thought I'd see, and I really enjoyed seeing it.
So I guess Mayuri's the right girl for Kiyoma, and Kurisu's the right girl for Okabe.
Maybe? No.
No. They obviously both really, really love him. And he really, really loves both of them. What's gonna happen now after that, I don't know.
No idea. Alright, that's all I have you.
I think that's all I have because of how confused I am.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.